Thank you so much. Um, my name is Philemon Bahati.
Okay.
I live in Bukavu in DRC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of the co-founders of magazine The Leader. Magazine The Leader is a four-monthly magazine that showcases a range of profiles, including leaders, company directors, executives, entrepreneurs, and other personalities who are making an impact on Congolese leadership and the entrepreneur ecosystem with the aim to creating a synergy of people considered to be benchmark for boosting future generations. So we contacted you because we believe that you are a good example of entrepreneurship and leadership in our community. So we are honored to have you in this call so that you can share your experience with us as we are young people. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, can you just please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are? And first, congratulations of what you are doing. Afro Diaspo is a good radio, and we think is getting more impact in our community. So congratulations of doing that. So just I give you just a moment to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. As you might know it already,
Yeah.
my name is Major Mugisho,
Okay.
and I'm also originally from Bukavu.
Okay.
I was born in Bukavu, and part of my life I spent it in South Africa.
Okay.
Then I moved to Canada in 2016,
Okay.
and then just continued with my journey. So professionally, I'm a musician.
Okay.
I am a piano player. I can tell it that way.
Mm.
I'm a singer. I'm a songwriter. I'm also, but what I do the most in music is sound engineering, and I teach.
Okay.
I teach sound engineering here in Canada at a college called Langara College.
Okay.
So that's mostly what I do. What else? Just teaching, just teaching, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much. So
Yeah.
the first question I want to ask you is, what are the most pressing challenges facing African leadership today, and how do you think we can meet those challenges as Africans?
Yes. I think when you talk about leadership, sometimes you look at leadership as if it's like a passion to lead others, right?
Yeah.
But the truth is, a good leader is somebody who starts with himself. So being a leader does not, to me, doesn't mean that you need to have a lot of people just who are following you or people that you are guiding.
Okay.
To me, I think leadership starts with the person himself being able to lead himself, being able to organize yourself and organizing your ideas. Because as you know, the world is built up on ideas, and for me to become a leader, I have to be honest with myself, saying, okay, am I able to lead myself first of all? What am I doing with my life? How am I managing my time and everything? Where are my ideas? What do I do with my ideas? That's what's gonna make me a leader within myself first of all,
Okay.
before I think
Yeah.
about the others. Because I don't believe that one can lead uh, the entire nation if they can't be able to lead themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that Africa is really lacking of. We don't have people who, or if I can say men and women who are really faithful to themselves, who are able to guide their own life and being able to organize yourself and become successful in one area of life.
mm,
We have this kind of youth, or if I can say people, who are kind of like lost in a jungle. You know,
mm-hmm.
you want to be a leader, but you can't lead yourself. You don't know how to stabilize your own life,
Okay,
and that can become a challenge.
okay,
That can become a problem because, as they say, everything has to start from within,
okay,
then can be brought out.
yeah,
They say garbage in, garbage out. So everything that is, like in French, they say puri de dents, puri dehors.
yep, mm,
So you can't expect people to follow you if you're not able to lead yourself first of all.
mm-hmm.
You know, if you are looking at the Christian point of view, you understand that before God sends people, He always work on you first. Transform you first, work on you first, and then He can lead, He can guide you, can tell you, okay, now you can lead my people. So He can trust you now to lead His people. But if you are not able to lead yourself,
It's,
how are you going to lead the people of God?
so you are
These are
talking,
the little things.
yeah,
Pardon?
you are talking about personal leadership before to lead people.
Yeah, you have to be able to lead yourself as a person
Mm-hmm.
before we can talk about leadership as Africans.
Yeah,
You know, because then if we are able to lead our own lives as youth or as men and women of our continent, then we can be able now to spread those ideas that are already built, the foundations that we already have inside. We can now be able to bring it out to other people
mm-hmm.
because they say leadership attracts followers.
Okay,
Everywhere there is a strong leadership, followers will come.
mm-hmm.
It's like knowledge. Somebody who has knowledge doesn't need to advertise it.
Yeah,
The people can smell knowledge
yeah,
and they will come for it.
yeah,
Leadership is also like that. When you have that character of a good leader,
mm-hmm.
people will follow you because they want a guidance, and you are the one who knows where to take them to.
Yeah,
But the biggest challenge, if I can go back to your question, the biggest challenge that we're facing right now is finding people who are really able to lead themselves at a personal level, first of all.
mm-hmm.
If we can get that, then we can be able to talk about the collective leadership.
Okay,
That's my point of view when it comes to the challenge.
okay. So that leads me to another question. So how can we train the new generation of young leaders in Africa to guarantee the development of the new generation? Because you are talking about personal leadership. Practically, what should be done practically so that we meet all those challenges we are facing in Africa: poverty, lack of employment, and insecurity, and all those stuffs. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think what really needs to be emphasized on right now in Africa is um, science. And when I talk about science, I mean that self-education. You know,
Okay.
being able to educate an African and make them understand what the world is. There's one thing that I always say is you can train an African and they can become a doctor. You can teach them and they'll become an engineer. You can again teach them and they'll become a pastor. You can teach them and they'll become a professor. You can also teach them and they'll become a father. Like you can train them to become a father.
Yeah.
They can become whatever you want them to become.
Yeah.
There's only one thing that an African is missing right now. That's based on what I know and all that uh, the analysis that I've made. I think there's one thing that the Africans don't really think about is to understand the world.
Understand the world.
the world, how the world works.
Okay.
We don't understand how the world works. We know how to become, but we don't understand. There's a difference between knowing and understanding. Um, if I can take you again back to the Bible, you know, the Bible says, get wisdom and get knowledge. But in all you get understanding.
Okay.
Which means you can have knowledge, you can have wisdom, but if you don't understand what you have, then we have a problem.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, then we're gonna have a problem because the understanding becomes more important than even knowledge and wisdom. Because what's the point of you becoming wise, but you are suffering within yourself? What's the point of having knowledge, but you can't use it to survive in this world with all these challenges? What's the point of us having a lot of people who go to school like scientific and everything, but we don't have an understanding on how to guide or to lead our country, to build the country? I'll make you happy. In 2021, after spending a lot of years out of Africa, I decided to visit my country, which is Congo, like Kinshasa. And as soon as you land in Kinshasa, coming from Canada, soon as you land in Kinshasa, if you have a different way of looking at things, you will understand why Africa will never go. I'm not trying to say it will never, but you will understand the reason why Africa is where it is right now. Right? Here's the point. When you get to Africa, in the airport, you find all the young people at the airport, and you ask yourself the question, what are they doing here? Because they say the youth is the future of the country.
Yeah.
But we can't have the future of the country on the street, right?
Yeah.
If the future is on the street, then all we get is it's gonna be a bad result. So you will meet a lot of people at the airport, and you are like, okay, what are they doing here? And all they're doing, they're begging for money. So which means again, these people are still thinking about getting food first, right?
Yeah.
So right now, Africa is at the point where the majority is looking for something to put in their stomach
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
So the level of hunger determines how far they can go in terms of looking for food, which means they can steal,
Yeah.
they can become hooligans, like they can hold guns to
Yeah.
kill people for getting food.
Yeah.
They can lie, deceiving people at the airport. Corruption comes from there. All these bad things, they come from that level. First of all, I want to get something to eat.
Yeah.
Now, if we can cross that, which is very difficult right now, because if you go to Kinshasa right now, I'm telling you, everybody's looking for food, first of all. Now, a brain, a brain that is being brought here cannot think, right?
Yeah. Right.
if if your brain has been brought down here, first of all, then you are not yet at the level of thinking. If you are in Canada, like this is what if I can say the government. But when we talk about the government, we talk about the society, right? Because they're not coming from a tree; they're coming from the society.
Yeah.
For them, is there's one thing they fought against first of all is lack of food. Like they make sure everybody should eat first of all. Then when you have ate something or you have eaten something, you can have time now to think, because it's when we think about that when we bring ideas to our brain, we feed our brain with more ideas. That's when we can create like a development. We can't develop the country if we're still thinking about something to put in our stomach.
Yeah. So practically, what youth should be done. They should read books. They should, because they go to school. I think everybody is going is want to
Yeah.
school. So practically, what young let's say youth should be. Or let me ask another question. Let me ask another question to clarify what I mean. Uh,
Yeah.
According to your experience uh, with Afro Diaspo, so what leadership qualities and approaches do you think are particularly important for success in African business environment? Can you share your insight from your own entrepreneurial journey or observation of the other successful leaders?
Yes. Talking of the success of Afro Diaspo, you know,
Yeah.
if I can bring that to the table, I'll tell you one thing. The success of Afro Diaspo won't come, or it's not coming just from nowhere. It's coming from a study of the people in Africa, you know. I take all my time to study the people, and then what can I feed them with? And as I told you, like there are things that are guiding Africans right now is the food, lack of food. You know, you'll be in a work environment. Here in Canada, I'm telling you, you will never hear one thing in Canada. Nobody will suspect you from stealing in a company. You know, it's really rare. If you work for me, the fact that I gave you a job, I trust you already that you're not coming here to steal. You are here for your job. I can judge you on the performance, you know, saying maybe you're not performing very well, but I shouldn't be thinking about you stealing from the company. That's that's the culture they've built over here. In Africa, I came to understand that it's really opposite. When you employ people, you're exposing yourself to so many things, challenges, like in terms of theft. You know, somebody will be working for you, and that person is the one who's stealing from you.
Yeah.
You know, these are little things that I started to understand, and then they are helping me to move forward slowly, even though the success is slow. But again, we are improving slowly because we are getting to understand the human and how they behave and how they think. So we are taking the job at a psychological level instead of just being into the business of selling. I'm selling this, buy this from me. They won't buy. They don't have money, most of them, right? But if you can convince them, if you can get to understand them and check what really drives an African, you can become successful even if it's in Africa. You know, the first thing is if you are working with Africans, if you are working with Africans, especially if they're working for you, you have to make sure they eat. But if they're not fed very well, I'm telling you, they will start stealing from the company. Either they love you or not, they will steal from the company. You should make sure that these guys are paid to the point that they are able to put food on their table, because this is what is still driving them at this point. But this shouldn't be what we should be looking at if we want to develop our country in terms of leadership
Yeah.
and in terms of investment. This is not what we should be looking at. We should train Africans about life and bring them back to the beginning before colonialism. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we were very successful. We were successful. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Uh, yes. Um, you know, we seem to have lost our identity. But I promise you, the colonizer didn't lose our identity.
Mm.
I'm gonna repeat myself again. We Africans, we seem to have lost our identity. It's like we don't know where to go. But the colonizer didn't lose it.
Okay.
They didn't lose our identity. They know us very well. They know what Africans are capable of, but Africans don't know what they're capable of.
Okay.
And this, I promise you, if you travel to countries like America and Canada,
Yeah.
and you look at Africans' lives, like even those who are already living here for years and years, they are still bound into these same problems.
Yeah.
Even though they've been living in Canada for 25 years, it's really hard for them to break this chain. Because I told you again from the beginning, we have a problem of understanding how the world works.
Yeah.
We can really be trained and become whatever we want to become, but knowing how the world works, it's always a problem. We don't know how to run nations.
So how can we get to the point where we know how the world works? That way I want you
We,
to come.
we have to embrace science.
Science.
Yes, there is a verse in the Bible.
Yeah.
Because I always like to talk about
Yeah.
basing myself on the Bible because
Yeah.
I read a lot of verses in the Bible.
Yeah.
If you go to Romans chapter 12 verse 2, I think this is this is the verse that talks about how you can become successful in life. Here's what it says: don't be conformed by this world
Yeah.
or this surrounding, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind,
Mind. Yeah.
so that you may be or you may do what's the will of God, right? Which means, in another word, the will of God lies in the renewing of our mind. When we talk about renewing the mind, means first of all, being conformed means taking the color of what's surrounding you. When uh, when TikTok came, when TikTok came, it was created in China, right? Not in Africa. And I promise you that superstars of TikTok right now are African,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We are the one who are taking our own problems to TikTok. We spend all time insulting each other on TikTok. We spend time being naked on TikTok.
Yeah.
It looks like TikTok was created for us to distract Africans, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not against a platform like TikTok because these are things that should just exist either we like it or not. But again, how we use it, it's like we have taken it to the next level. I think even the creator is now surprised about it, right? So that means we have been conformed to what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's like our mind, we try to behave like robots. Like whatever happens is what we take the color of what happens in the world. If the world goes to the right side, we are all going to the right side. When it goes to the left side, we go to the left side with it.
So.
But now, if we want to change Africa, if we want to change Africa, we should be transformed by the renewing of our mind. So, which means every day you wake up, you should be asking yourself the question: how can I transform my mind? Because the mind of a human is the mind of God,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I strongly believe that if there's when God says, let's create a man according to our likeness, he didn't mean that we have to give because we have nails, we're gonna give nails to the man. I think it's the mind that looks like the mind of God.
Yeah.
The problem is we are corrupted. Our mind is corrupted. There's viruses inside.
Yeah.
Now, we have to be renewing it every day on a daily basis. Number one, uh, cultivate the culture of reading.
Of reading.
Almost reading, yes. Almost 80% of the problems we go through are already written somewhere in a book.
Yeah.
You know, how will you know? How will you know what happened in the times of people like Lumumba, Kwame Nkrumah? You should never read about it. How will you be able to know that? The children who are born today, how are they going to know about Gaddafi
Yeah.
if they never read about it?
Yeah.
So we should be able to read on a daily basis. You can't spend like a without reading and expect to be successful in life. That's really a lie. Uh, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Number two. Number two, we should cultivate what we call self-education, which means education. Education means coming from A, go to B. You know, taking a child from point A, taking them to B. So which means being transformed, being you know, what I mean is developed intellectually. Going to school does not mean you are educated, right? But school is part of education if you take it seriously. Now, if all Africans should have that conscience of developing themselves on a daily basis, we can have a good country. Check very well, my brother. If you go to big cities in Africa, even if you go to Uganda, or I've been to Uganda, been to Kigali,
Yeah.
like everybody's outside. You know, soon as you wake up in the morning, everyone is outside. How will you be able to think if you spend all your time outside wandering up and down? How? If you go to countries that are developed, I'm telling you, people are closing themselves in the rooms,
Mm.
and these are the people who are changing the world.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't see them going up and down. And I'll prove you that even the God that Africans pray day and night, this God is a God who will answer in secret.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know why we have to be making noise even in our prayers if the God himself is gonna answer you in secret.
In secret.
He says himself, I'm the God who hears in secret and I answer in secret.
So
So
do you think we should create some like kind of training centers?
yeah, having training centers is good, but having people who are going to be training others is more important,
Okay.
because uh, how are they going to know if they've never been trained, you know, if they've never been shown this way? But again, the problem that we should fight first of all, and it's really hard. Maybe you and I might not be able to finish that problem, is taking the brain from here, bringing it here.
Yeah.
Because soon as we bring the brain back here, then the man can think. Then the man can think. Because there's one thing that Africans need to know. A human being, every human being has two parts. There is the consciousness and the subconsciousness, right? But again, the problem is humans live for almost 80% into their subconscious, so which means you become like a computer that has been programmed,
Yeah.
and all you do, you're just repeating what you've been programmed with. It's like a CD that is just
Yeah.
turning around.
Yeah.
This this is the reason why people who drive cars will tell you the only time I concentrated was the time I was learning. Other days you just jump into a car and then that that's the seed that is being put into your brain that is driving now.
Yeah.
It's not you anymore.
Yeah.
But um, we need to have that part of consciousness.
Okay.
Conscience, conscience is what tells you what to do, and you really do it because you know that you have to do it, right?
Okay.
So if we don't do that, then we'll be living into whatever has been printed into our brain for years and years. This is what Africans come with, even overseas. They live with the same CD that they've been playing in Bukavu. Now they play it even in Canada. Cook pondu, eat pondu, eh, songi songi, songi songi, oh, nini wewe alichamba mwenzabo. Aya. Sending money to Africa because that's what we do,
Yeah.
sending money every day. You cannot become rich. You can't become rich until you educate yourself in these areas. You can't live in Canada by sending money every month and expect to be rich. You will never. And you should ask yourself the question, when I send this money to Africa every day, yes, they have problems. But Am I really helping these people
Yeah.
to develop?
They are dependent.
Or am I, yeah, they become now dependent to me.
Yeah.
So how are they going to move forward if they become, you find out that your younger brothers who could be working there, they still have energy than you, but you are supporting them their entire life, you know? These are little things. There's another factor that I will bring to the table is time management.
Time management.
Time management.
Yeah.
Either we like it or you like it or not, we all have 24 hours in a day. Everybody has 24 hours. If you don't have 24 hours in a day, it means you're dead. So the problem is, what do you do with your 24 hours? That's it. And that's the thing that I do with my people, the people that I work with. When you come to, I employ you, okay, we agree, okay, you're going to be waiting for 8 hours. So at the end of the work, I'm going to ask you, what did you do with your 8 hours with me? Because I am paying you based on that, on those 8 hours.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay you out of those. And I don't want to come and pay somebody who works just for 30 minutes and they spend the other hours just talking.
Talking. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm ready to fire everybody
Mm.
as long as long as it profits my work, I can let you go. And that's these are things that kills Africans. We are shy to do action, to make action. We are shy to take a step to say, okay, you're not doing well in my company. Either you are my brother or not, you shouldn't be here. This is not your place. And you let them go. Because this is how you run companies. You know,
Okay.
that's
So,
those are things. Yeah.
thank you so much for those insights. I learned a lot from you. So, let me just ask one last question because I don't want to take
Yeah.
all your time. So, the last question is African entrepreneurs face various challenges from access to finance to infrastructure's limitation. So, how did you overcome? How did you overcome all those challenges? Or what advice can you give to a young African who want to start entrepreneurship, who has a good idea but he doesn't have money and the environment is not good? So, what advice can you give to him or to young African leaders?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Number one thing is consistency.
Yeah.
You know, in everything you do, if you are consistent, the way will be found. You know, when you are an entrepreneur, an entrepreneur is not somebody who thinks like I'm gonna come today and start making more money.
Uh-huh.
You know, there is a difference between just beginning a business and beginning an entrepreneurship. An entrepreneur will invest money and maybe eat in 20 years. Maybe they can see the profit in 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, it's based on how big it is because entrepreneurship always based on how big your vision can be. So if your vision is to build schools, you're not gonna build the school in one day. And you might be able to build those schools, but getting teachers might be a challenge.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many things involved, and you have to embrace uh, pain.
Mm.
You need to love pain and changes. If you cannot create changes yourself, then you have to accept that changes will come from the nature.
Mm.
So to me, what I do is I wake up every day and create a change into my company.
Yeah.
So I will say, okay, I think we are doing this way. What if we try this other way today? And don't be afraid to try something that is coming from your brain. Because whatever that you think is what we call magic in life. Thought in other countries, in other places, people buy ideas.
Ideas.
People buy ideas.
Yeah.
Yes, even this world we're living in was an idea of God.
Everything comes
Was
from
God
it.
is an idea?
Yeah.
Yes. It was just an idea that he had. He said, like, what if I expand this thing?
Mm,
But if we create a man,
mm,
these are things. It's just because we cannot say God said, what if? Because God has precision in everything, right?
mm.
He knows the beginning and the end. But we have to start ideas. And slow way deeper. So you have to put yourself into an environment where you can think deeper. I was um I was watching the story of who's that? There's a guy. The name is he makes cars.
Mm-hmm.
I'll remember his name. So he began by creating a company. He had money, created a company, and then people were building cars. They were putting cars together. And then at some point he was like, he came to visit. He found out like the job was really hard for workers, and he was like, okay, what can I do? Because people have to move from one place to another one to get the material that they were using to put cars together. And he was like, what if I create a system that makes, instead of you moving from where you are, but the thing moves from where it is and meets you over there. And then they said, okay, we're going to close the company. They closed the company for a moment. Um, they created machines. They focused on creating machines that can be bringing these components to where the employees are sitting.
Mm.
So instead of around, you sit there and everything meets you there. And then you just put it together. I promise you that doubled the productivity 10 times in that company. And what's his name? I forgot his name. But I will see if I remember it. Maybe next time.
Mm.
But all I'm trying to say is if you can nourish your brain with thoughts and accept them and embrace them, everything that comes from your brain has a purpose in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And then let these things flourish. Bring them out. Put them into your work as an entrepreneur. Then you can be successful. The other thing is in entrepreneurship, you have to know one thing. Your job is not to control the client. Your job, if you are the main guy, your job is to deal with your workers, your employees, right? You have to deal with them to the point that you have to protect them, to make them feel better, to help them go forward. You need to build them because these are the people who are going to deal with the client. And the client, in return, will deal with the company.
Mm.
You have to feed your workers of, if you are the main guy like the CEO, you have to feed your supervisors. The supervisors will feed the workers will feed the client, and the clients will feed the company. This is how it works. You shouldn't be everywhere. You shouldn't be trying to be everywhere. You're going to suffocate people. And people will never work very well if you're trying to be everywhere yourself. You know, give them space, but do meetings and see. Let them bring ideas, and then see how you can manage those ideas. And don't try to think that you are the guy who have everything in terms of ideas. Allow other people to help you to move the company forward.
Yeah.
Right. If I can finish by this, I'll say, when you work with people, make sure by the time they're working for you, they're doing something for the company
Yeah.
because they will leave tomorrow.
Yeah.
Either you like it or not, they will leave you.
That's
Either you pay them 10 times, either you don't pay them, they will get to the point they will leave you because they say time will tell. So with time, you're going to get to know, oh, okay, Mr. Bahat is not going to be with us anymore. He's leaving
yeah.
because they have their own ambitions.
Mm.
They have what they want to do. Maybe you are just a passage for them to get to where they want to go.
Mm.
So make sure if they are with you for that maybe 1 month, they've done their best for the company because the company will stay, they will leave. That's what it is.